Words of Wisdom is brought to you by Essentia Health and TV3 and LB Video Productions.
Hi, I'm Mavis Lage. I'm 96 years old, and I grew up in Cayuga, North Dakota. When I was 7, we moved to Foreman, North Dakota. My dad was Leonard Reed, curling. My mother was Edla Evangeline. My dad was born in 1896, and my mother was born January 1900. So we always knew how old she was. My dad became sheriff. He was sheriff for 27 years until he died in 1961. When we lived in Cayuga, my dad and his dad, my grandfather, they had a general coroner store for 10 years. Then my grandfather died, and that's when my dad became sheriff. I had one brother. Another one died as a baby. He was a triplet. The two girls were still living till they turned 96 years old. I had 7 sisters, and they all passed away. I was in the middle. We stayed together. We lived in apartments together in Fargo. When I came up there were the 4 of us. My 2 sisters that were triplets, we called them twins then, and then my oldest sister. So it was the 4 of us in the apartment. We all got along good together, and even when we got older, it was nice growing up. And we had such good parents. My brother was 23 when he was killed in action during World War II. My dad got the telegram early in the morning of my 17th birthday. He had to go to the depot, and they wouldn't tell him on the telephone what it was. And he was very smart, and he says, I don't want to be a yes man. And he wouldn't have had to go to where he's buried in France now. One of the nurses told my folks that the cemetery was beautiful, they took good care of it. And she said, I wouldn't take it home. A lot of times you didn't know if you got the right body, and so that was a sad time. My brother was killed in July of 1944. I graduated in 45. We had all the time with teachers. It was hard to keep teachers. 4 of us girls, we taught typing, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. We taught for 1 semester, so that was difficult. Some of them were our friends, and
What was it like growing up in the time period that you grew up in?
well, it was a small town. You know, we could go any place. The folks didn't have to worry about it. We did a lot of the winter ice skating and roller skating. We had a town hall that we roller skated, and we played paper dolls and a lot of games.
What is your husband's name?
Albert August Lage.
How did you meet your husband?
I worked at in Fargo. I went to business college, interstate business college. I went there for 9 months. I took shorthand, and we had penmanship. The teacher there had beautiful handwriting. He was a man. The teachers were good, very good. And then they placed me, which was nice. I worked at Great West Life Assurance Company. Worked there as a bookkeeper. My dad when I was going to go to college, at the business college, I was going to take up shorthand, and I was going to be a secretary. And my dad said, I think you should take some bookkeeping. I was so glad I did. So then I was bookkeeper there for a few years. And then they downsized. They were from Canada, and they downsized. And then they placed me at Sakoti Vacuum, Haggard Service. And I was at the switchboard and did bookkeeping there. And then my husband had a mobile gas station. He would call on the phone and it did not answer. And he'd say $7.50 gas and $2.50 special. and if he needed oil or something, sometimes he'd come out to the Sakoti Vacuum. And he had such a nice voice on the phone. Anyhow, that's where I met him.
How long were you married for?
29 years. I was 53 when he passed away. And he was able to walk with my 3 daughters. He was able to walk them down the aisle when they got married. After my husband died, my kids said, we have to make an appointment to see Mother. But that was good, that kept me busy. I have 4 children. Dwayne's my oldest one, and Kathy is next, and Luann, and Viv. And Luann was born at home. It was 32 below. My husband delivered her. At that time, he had headbolt heaters, and he could plug it in and warm it all up. Well, we weren't expecting her, and so we had to wait for it to warm up. And she didn't wait.
That had to be scary for you. Were you scared?
No. No. He when he was younger, he was living in Wyoming and Montana, and he was working on with the sheep and that, and I thought, if he can deliver like perhaps he can deliver my baby. And I got to know the neighbor lady that way, because we didn't have a telephone. We'd just moved there. And the neighbor lady said, you can't get it. It didn't work half the time. Anyhow, it all worked out.
So what was it like raising your children at home?
I don't know, it's just something that you did. Nowadays, they can't do that. I feel sorry for them, especially with their daycare. I took care of kids all of them. And we did it free. It was something that we just did. There was one of the teachers, whenever they got an appendix, they call and say, would you watch him? I was glad to do it. And now they get paid for everything.
Was there a favorite meal that you made that your kids loved?
Oh, macaroni and cheese always says. And pancakes. The neighbor kids would come over and play, and my one daughter would make pancakes and they.
Did you have a favorite recipe that you like to make?
Around Christmas time, I made a lot of caramels. I baked bread all the time. My kids didn't know what rotten bread was. And caramel rolls, and I did a lot of baking. I played a lot of cards, hearts, and we played cribbage with my husband's cousin and his wife. His cousin's wife and I were partners. If we won, that was luck. And if they won, it was skill. But it was fun. We had a good time. My son was in the Navy for 6 years. We didn't see him for 2 years. He was stationed in Guam, Philippines, Japan, Vietnam. He was only on the ship once, and that was to see it. Otherwise, he flew all the time. He was in electronics and things he couldn't talk about. So that was a long time.
Do you have any grandbabies or great-grandbabies?
I have 7 grandsons and 7 granddaughters. I don't know how that worked out. And I have 26 greats and 3 great. I get to see all of them, which I'm so lucky. They love me. and I love them.
What brought you to this area?
My husband's family were from around here, and his mother had cancer, and so we moved here. And I also had a sister that lived here. Her husband was a social study teacher. We lived out of town, but our address was Detroit Lakes.
So what year was that you moved to Detroit Lakes?
1955.
What was some of your volunteer work that you did?
We did the daffodils for Cancer Society, and that was a lot of. We'd go to the store, Main Street, and different places where we knew we could sell them. And then we'd have to deliver them, so that kept us busy. When some of them checked the kids' eyes and stuff, then a lot of times they'd call me and I'd help with that. At the church, we made donuts. They were the best donuts in the world. One of the ladies, when I got started, that's how I got to know everybody at churches, doing those things. It was her mother's recipe for donuts, and they were so good. And so my friend and I, we ended up being head of it for I don't know how many years. We'd have to get the workers, and we had meatball suppers, and they were the best meatballs. The people looked forward to it.
What church is this?
The United Methodist Church. Yeah, we were quite busy at church. It's changed quite a bit now.
What do you like about Oak Crossing?
Oh, it's very nice. If you need to be somewhere, they're really nice, willing to help you. Like Nikki now,
Do you have any favorite activities that you do here?
Well, we do painting. We play volleyball with balloons, and that seems to go really good. I was telling them, I said, everybody's so cheerful then. You kick it with your feet or your head so that goes really good. And then we have music, play bingo twice a week. We all look forward to that. I do knitting. I do the word search, and I also have an iPad. And I do mainly solitaire. I try to beat my time. I knit. Now I'm only knitting smaller things, dish rags and coat hangers.
Do you have any words of wisdom or advice you'd like to give to people?
I just live by the golden rule.
Essentia Health, our presenting sponsor, is proud to bring you Words of Wisdom. And TV3 and LB Video Productions.
you.